Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. After a 2-week hiatus because of unforeseen circumstances, the Bretto boys are back and better than ever after a couple-week rest last week because the game decided to end at like 2 a.m. and the week before for personal reasons. But we are here to talk about this week's of NFL games for week 6. My name is Dylan Bretto, podcast popping with Big Brother Steven Bretto. Hello.
Yeet.
And let's get right into this dog shit Sunday night game that we just watched now. Bengals 17, New York Giants 7.
They're trying to flex this game, and CBS was not having it. But next week they need to flex. They're not. They should flex next week's game to fucking Minnesota versus Detroit, but they're not.
They're not going to flex. What is next week? Jets, Steelers?
Jets, Steelers. They should flex that to Minnesota, Detroit.
They absolutely should flex that, but oh well. I'll take all the primetime games I can get, I guess. After a decade of barely getting them, I'll just take what I get. This game sucked. The Giants stink. The Bengals play down to all their fucking competition.
Well, look, they play down the competition. They are the competition. The Bengals suck too. It's not fucking. They can't play down to their They play down to their competition if they're 4-1, not 1-4. Well, 2-4 now. The Bengals suck and the Giants suck. The difference in this game is Daniel Jones doesn't make the throws he needs to make.
And Joe Burrow is really good at football when he wants to be, because this Bengals defense tries so hard to keep every fucking team in the game. That just shows how bad the Giants are. Just shows how fucking bad the Giants are. Where the Bengals defense just hopes to keep this a fucking shootout. And the Giants just can't fucking score.
The Bengals are trying to give them the game. The Bengals are trying to give the Giants the game, and they can't.
The fumble in the fucking fourth quarter with like a minute 50 left. I was just like, and nobody can pick it up. Everyone's kicking the ball out of bounds.
That's so Giants. That's
unreal. Fall on the ball. Not everybody has to try to scoop it. Just fall on the fucking ball. Unreal. Everyone wants to be a fucking hero. Just get your team the ball back.
Dude, jump on it and have possession. You can't do that. You need that ball. If you jump on that ball, you give your team a chance. If you get the ball back, then you give your team a chance. We may not know what happened. You may not score. You may not move the ball at all. But
at least you gave him the shot. But then the very next play, Chase Brown just runs up the middle for like a 30-yard touchdown. Right up the middle. So I was like, well, once that play happened, I was like, they're not coming back. I'm going to go set up for the show. I'm not watching the rest of this.
Once that touchdown happened, it's over. They had to score 10 points in like fucking a minute and 20 seconds.
I'm not going to sit here and watch this ineptitude try to make it a fucking one-possession game. With a minute fucking left. Yeah, okay. This game stinks. The Bengals, Zach Taylor's job is safe for another week.
Zach Taylor is probably going to get fired at the end of the year, which he should be fired at the end of the year.
Thursday night, San Francisco 49ers 36, Seattle Seahawks 24. A tale as old as time, at least something the Bretto boys have been preaching to you, is insert running back here for the Shanahan offense. They're all good.
Yeah, if you just have a running back, it don't matter. Jordan Mason got hurt, then the next guy is in there running for 99 yards. Does it matter who the running back is? The problem, Seattle, Geno Smith was just off on. He was off on everything. Fucking, his throws were either 10 yards away from the receiver or 20 feet too high. He was. Geno had a bad game.
Geno about to get his jaw broken again, I'll tell you that much. DK Metcalf is sick of him. Sick of him.
He was getting tired. The offense coordinator, you see that when he fucking got on the phone, he's like, would you call some plays past the fucking sticks?
It's the Seahawks team is a little bit disappointing. This Niners team is just hurt. Geno doesn't look like the Geno over the last couple of years, and I feel like that's bound to happen, especially when you're a guy who for the first 10 years of your career, you couldn't put it as a starter. Now you finally like hit your prime later in your career, and now we're 3 years after that, and it's like, oh, you're starting to look like you're
Well, the problem is last week they lose to the Giants, right? Last week, and they only run the ball 4 times with Kenneth Walker the whole game. I'm like, but you barely lose that game. Why abandon the run game for no reason? This San Francisco defense is not as the same as it's been the past couple of years. They can get got. Like Nick Bosa and them are like that secondary. Outside of Nick Bosa and Fred Warner, their defense they can get got. That's why Arizona came back and put it on them because they're asking to blow this fucking lead.
Well, Arizona also came back because San Fran couldn't kick.
Yeah.
So if San Fran was able to kick last week, oh, there we go. Here's last week's episode. If Arizona was going against a Niners team that had a kicker, the Niners team probably would have won.
But they still can get got. You can move the ball on this fucking San Francisco team. This is drenched with injury. Somebody gets hurt. McCaffrey will even play this year.
They're saying November. But he's got like tendonitis in his Achilles, in both Achilles.
His legs, so
like last time I checked, if the guy was fine, he wouldn't be in Germany trying to figure out what the fuck is wrong with him.
Go see Kobe's doctor, I guess. Germany that one year.
Dude's got tendonitis in both of his Achilles.
There's one of the I'm like he's not like it, they were covering up like how, I'm like
you're a 30-year-old running back, man. Dude.
Well, San Francisco was covering it up. I thought you said it wasn't that bad. I thought you said it was one leg. It's both legs. Both legs. The one thing, because you could clearly see he's the MVP because there's a certain things like, okay, the running game is going to be good, but he adds that extra ability receiver and everything else is just. You could tell the offense is taking a step back.
Yes, it's relying more on Purdy, and like I'll give credit where credit's due. Purdy has gotten better as a passer, but he's not like, hey, we need to lean on you. Good. He's not there yet. And the second you got to pay him, it's going to hurt this team.
Yeah, you're going to have to pay him. And they just paid McCaffrey again. And we always, and they pay both receivers. They're going to have to pay the quarterback. So somebody's got to go. One of those receivers and McCaffrey.
Trent Williams.
Yeah. One of those, because Jennings, maybe they should have just not paid Ayuk and
just kept Jennings. Because Jawan Jennings has been balling all year.
Jennings is going to get a bag. Jennings is going to get a bag, and then what happens? They don't like to pay. You pay your running back, and he don't play this year. Guess what? You're like, you know what? Let's get rid of him. Mason's been fine, and I don't even know who the heck the guy, the backup Mason is.
Garendo.
He balled.
Came out of nowhere.
Jordan Mason, I think, is out for the next couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So.
The running game will always figure itself out there in San Fran.
Guess what? Somebody else got to go. The defense got to go, and the offense got to go. Can't pay everybody.
All right, the London special. The other team is going to fire their head coach before he gets back to the United States. Jaguars 16, Bears 35.
And dumb Dougie P has already come out talking about we need a change in culture. Yeah, the change in culture is you. After next week, you're not going to make it on a plane ride back. Because this Jaguars team has too many fucking guys on their team and so much potential that to not be fucking used. And they've been using Travis Etienne wrong his whole career here. And Tank Bigsby is the guy, and they got to put him on the field. He's got to play more. He's the running back. Because they don't know how to use Travis Etienne, who got hurt in this game. He had another fumble. So teams are going to be calling for Etienne, and you don't know how to use him. Tank Bigsby is the guy for Jacksonville. Jacksonville is 1-5. They should easily be 4-2.
Yeah.
Dog walk by Buffalo and dog walk by Chicago today. That's their 2 losses. The other
games that were in Miami, they lost with zeros on the clock.
3 losses they should have won because of decisions by Doug Peterson, costing them going forward unnecessarily, costing them points when they could have kicked field goals and won games.
This Jaguars team could not stop doing the dumb thing today. Every fucking quarter had some sequence of stupidity in it that is just unreal. I think it's either third quarter right before halftime where they had the defensive stretch where they had 4 penalties. Yeah. 4 fucking penalties that bailed out bad Chicago play.
People go to shit on Trevor Lawrence. I'm like, Trevor Lawrence only has 3 interceptions on the fucking season.
Gabe Davis dropped 3 touchdowns today.
Gabe Davis dropped a touchdown. Brian Thomas Jr. fucking dropped a touchdown.
Evan Ingram, what's his face? Evan Ingram fumbled on the first play of a drive after halftime. There's no way that this is happening. All of this happens because you're poorly coached, right? Say what you want about Saleh getting fired, and people say, "Oh, Saleh should have gotten fired," and then he got fired. Oh my God, why'd they fire him? Shut up! This is the reason. The reasons like this is why guys get fired. You don't make it home from London when you're coaching like this. There's no reason Caleb is getting away with doing the stuff that no other NFL team was letting him get away with.
But Caleb was phenomenal today.
Fantastic.
He was phenomenal today. But he's got to figure it out. Sometimes he's got the overthrows or the underthrows.
He did have the throw to Keenan Allen the pylon that was fucking beautiful. But it's we've seen 6 games of this Bears team. The first 4 of them were terrible, right? Caleb did not play great in any of them. He had one game where I was like, it looks like he's kind of piecing together, but he's still playing like shit. And then he has the Panthers, shits all over them. Jaguars, shits all over them. And these are the 2 teams that let him get away with doing the shit he was doing in college.
Well, and then against the Rams, he struggled against the Rams, but
he put it together.
They figured out, let's give the ball to DeAndre Swift. And DeAndre Swift, ever since that Rams game 3 weeks ago, has been balling because they're actually giving him the ball.
Yep.
Running the offense, it's throwing screens to him, throwing him little fucking passes to the flat, and just running the ball, and he's getting big gains. And guess what? That happens. Guess what happens when you do that with the defense? When your running game is working, it makes it easy for Caleb to make all these throws. They're doing play actions, double fake screens, and they're hitting the tight end down the fucking seam for a big touchdown.
It's wonderful that they're trying to figure out how to open up the game for him, but he still has that stupidity in him. His Green Goblin mask is telling him to do something stupid, and he's just okay. But these last 2 weeks, he's been able to just get away with it.
The Bears defense is really good too. So
that's the thing. That defense is so good.
When they're both on it,
they're scary. They're a scary team. The problem is, I don't know what this Bears team really is. Is it the Bears team we saw for the first 4 weeks, or is it the Bears team we saw right now? Do I think we're going to see this same Bears team after the bye week where they have to play the Commanders? Yeah, because the Commanders' defense stinks.
Commanders' defense stinks, and that's going to be the best defense Jaden Daniels has faced all season.
And even today, we'll get to the game, but even today, Jaden Daniels didn't look great today. They played fine, but they didn't play great against the Baltimore defense that kind of struggles. And that's kind of the game I was looking for. I was like, okay, so he is good. But we'll get there when we come across that. Shout out to the Bears. Shout out to Caleb for putting it together. A hell of a game.
A thing that came out, Mercedes Lewis on the Bears. He came out. He went to the coaches and he's like, let's run a fucking script. The first series. Can we do a script? Can we do that? And the coach listened, listen. And Kurt Warner was talking about it in the game about, yeah, you know what? It did this. It's nice to know when it's okay. We're going to come in and do this play when we first get the ball. It helps out everything.
Yep, it makes it easier. It sees how the defense is going to react to your play calling, knowing that you know what's coming next and you know what to prepare for. It's
why does a player have to suggest that to a coach? That means they're not good at their job.
Hey man, we'll get to this game too. That Raider game, the only good drive the Raiders had was their scripted drive. And you can tell it was and I was over here in the group chat with Anthony. I'm like, you can tell that's the sequence of plays they practiced perfectly, and then they couldn't do anything else afterwards. Shout out to the Bears. Shout out to the Bears. Bucks Saints. The Bucks beat the dog shit out of the Saints, and Marshawn Lattimore still did that thing.
Hold on. What if I told you in the first half Baker Mayfield threw 3 interceptions in the first half?
To be honest, Steven, I didn't even know that happened.
Baker Mayfield threw 3 picks in the first half. That's why it was so close. That's why it looked like the Saints were getting ready. And then in the second half, they just dog walked.
Dog walked him. Baker's 325, 4 touchdowns, and Mike Evans did nothing.
Yeah, Mike
again.
Against Marshawn Lattimore is his kryptonite. But
did that fucking thing.
Bucky Irving is this guy. Bucky Irving has got to be the lead back for Tampa. Rashad, I'm sorry, but Bucky's doing his thing. And then Sean Tucker, like the young running backs on the Bucks, they're gonna have to use.
They gotta stay. They just gotta just ride the hot hand and just keep trying to find ways to get them in. Because and let me tell you what, I was so impressed with Spencer Rattler this game. So impressed with Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, you're like is he better than
much better NFL quarterback than he was in college.
Remember, he's in a Shanahan offense.
Hey man, this is the best I've ever seen Spencer Rattler look in his year at Oklahoma and his last couple years in Arkansas. Like, this is the Spencer Rattler I thought I was going to see in college, and like, this is awesome. The Saints have a predicament. They may not know they have a predicament yet, but the Saints have a predicament. Because they may be in the middle of a quarterback controversy, and they just don't know it yet.
Quarterback controversy.
They just don't know it yet.
The Saints fans already love Spencer Rattler.
The fans do. I don't think Dennis Allen and the team knows yet.
Allen's not going to be there after this year. Dennis Allen he should have been fired last year. He's not fired this year. He should have been fired when he apologized for Jameis not kneeing and going rogue. Why apologize for that? He should have got fired after that.
I completely forgot about that.
Apologize to Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith get fired. Like, you should have got fired too. You should have never apologized. Why are you apologizing for that? Get the fuck out of here.
And this is also a game where Olave got hurt, got a concussion like the first 3 minutes of the game.
Fumbled and Winfield picked it up. Winfield's game back. He hasn't played since week 1. And he got a scoop ski potato all the way to for a tutter. Because that first half of this game, I could not explain to you what was going on. Because it was
nonsense.
It was weird. Yeah, Baker threw 3.
Everybody just kept scoring.
Baker threw 3 picks in the first half.
And then the second half, they did nothing. They did fucking nothing.
The first half was so weird. Look, you see, the Saints scored 27 points in the second quarter. Baker threw 3 picks. This is like the most bad Baker, good Baker combo game ever.
You want to talk about a fucking Green Goblin mask? All right, Baltimore Ravens 30, Washington Commanders 23. I don't like that Jayden Daniels had to throw the ball 35 fucking times, but they also didn't have Brian Thomas playing. Or whatever his name is.
I sent you earlier this week Jayden Daniels' throw chart.
Only to the right.
On the season, he only throws to the right. So, and he gets away with it because he is yet next week he's going to play a bad defense too. Next week they play the Panthers next week, So everyone's going to be on this train for the Commanders, where they've only beaten teams with losing records. They lost to Tampa and they've lost to Baltimore. They look at their wins. We got Cincinnati, they suck. The Giants, they suck. They should have lost that Giants game.
They should have lost that Giant game.
Cleveland
suck.
They sucked. And the fourth win, who was their fourth win?
The Cardinals. They beat the dog shit out of the Cardinals.
The Cardinals are 1 week. They're Jekyll and Hyde. The Kyler Murray's got his fucking Call of Duty sponsorship this week, so I'll explain a lot of things. But the Commanders' defense, because the Commanders should have got blown out. It should have never been close. This game wasn't as close as the score seems. They should have got blown. The Ravens' first 2 possessions, Lamar threw the pass to Mark Andrews, hits him in his hands. It bounces off his hands.
Oh my god!
And then the very next series they get, the center fucking fumbles the snap and fucks up the snap, and the Commanders get the ball. They easily should be like 44 to fucking 23.
Washington missed Brian Robinson Jr. so much in this game because a couple times they got into the red zone where they were just like on the 1 yard line. They just couldn't get the ball in the end zone. They had the one play by Terry McLaurin that was fucking awesome, by the way. But like they struggled to get the ball there, and he was very much so needed because Eckler's not that fucking guy.
Is when they face the better teams with better defenses, and Jaden Daniels can only throw the ball to right, and they take away the right. What is he going to look like?
Granted, he didn't look like Superman today, which is exactly kind of what you look for when you're trying to evaluate these rookies. It's like, yeah, we could only judge them by like the games they play, and oh man, he's been fucking supernova hot.
You know, Zay Flowers had like 140 yards in the first half.
Yeah, he was cooking.
That's how bad the defense is.
Their cornerbacks. There's this one dude on like TikTok and Twitter who fucking hates Benjamin St-Juste so much that he calls 911 on him weekly. He calls 911 and says he's selling drugs behind the PG County Mall in Maryland.
The Ravens are finally figuring out how to use Derrick Henry. We're just going to give him the ball 24 times under center. We're going to put the big old
novel idea.
Put Patrick Ricard out there and let's block for him. And then I will say this. They do piss me off in the red zone when they approach the red zone and Derrick Henry's not in.
And Derrick Henry's not in the game because of Justice Hill.
Why
is Justice Hill in the game?
Why is Justice Hill in there? Put Derrick Henry. Red zone offense is easy. Get under center, run the ball, because you can't. When you're coming out of shotgun, there's no room. Get under center, run the ball, and then the play action comes and makes everything easy because everybody thinks you're running the ball.
Remember when Harbaugh came out and was like, hey, we didn't bring Derrick Henry here to hand him the ball off 25 times. Turns out that's the best part of your team.
Because let me tell you, your team the past 3-4 years has been known for blowing leads in the fourth quarter. When you have lead, guess who's nice to have when you have a lead?
Derrick Henry.
Because nobody wants to tackle that big motherfucker.
They should know that very well. They've lost to Derrick Henry in the playoffs a ton. Because they couldn't do anything. They just got manhandled by him. So it's like, okay, this is the perfect can't beat him, join him situation where it's like, oh, we're going to get him so he can't beat us anymore.
4 lead in the fourth quarter. Let's
run the clock out with the power back.
In the NFL, the fucking ball and score a touchdown. He will end the game. He ended the game last week when it went in overtime against the Bengals. He ended the game this week when he just kept running and they couldn't stop him for first downs.
Let's talk about a game I didn't watch a single play out of. This Packers-Cardinals game. I think I saw maybe one play to
It was an ugly game because of the weather. The weather was bad.
Yeah, I think I saw one catch of Christian Watson.
He got his Call of Duty thing earlier this week, and you could tell by the way he played. He looked like he was only playing Call of Duty. He wasn't watching film.
And then didn't Marv get hurt?
Marvin Harrison got
concussion?
a bad concussion. Yeah, knocked out of the game.
It's crazy that the Packers are 4-2, considering like the adversities that they've had early on in this season.
Oh yeah, Romeo Dobbs last week they suspended him, and he come back and he just straight balled today. Jordan Love threw a underthrown ball, and Romeo Dobbs stops, and like the defender runs by him, and he runs by because the ball was underthrown. So Dobbs stops, and he catches it, and then he extends it for a touchdown. And then he had one later in the game. It was like another underthrown ball where he stops at the 1 yard line. The ball hangs in the air, and the corner covered him. And when Romeo Dobbs stops, goes straight to the end zone, and Dobbs catches the ball. It's like the same thing from different camera angles, different sides of the field.
I wish there's not much to say about this game. I don't know anything else that happened, so we're gonna skip this game because it just happened.
The Cardinals 1 week they're like okay, they're feisty, and then the next week the weather's bad and they're not gonna fucking do good because they're a dome team playing in bad weather in Green Bay.
So let's talk about this game here. Colts 20, Titans 17. Will Levis is on a generational run right now. And what I mean when I say that is he is putting together some of the best memes on the planet.
We didn't have one last week because he was on a bye, but now every week he gets a meme.
We got the "oh no, I threw an interception," and then I got the "oh, I'm fumbling laterally to the ground," and then there's the teabag fumble.
I bet you're wondering how I got in this position.
This face here on that Monday night game against the Dolphins, unfucking real. Unreal, because when I saw that in real time, I was like, "Oh, there's your next Will Levis meme, right there." And then Will Levis Spider-Man today.
Listen, they banned the gun celebration. So what are you gonna do? You can't get banned. You can't get fucking penalties for guns if you threw Spider-Mans.
Look at my favorite part about this one is how happy he seems right now, and then just like knowing what happens after it. Knowing what happens after it, where Will Levis is just fucking dumb, and then he got Ball Boy, who got taken out with like an exploded leg.
The Titans need him to play in order for them to not tank. In order for them not to be caught tanking, they need him to play. Because if they bench him, they might win some games. But they are going to be looking for a quarterback at the end of the season.
Mike has had it. He's so over Will Levis.
The last two seasons, Colts backup quarterbacks is better than Anthony Richardson. So, I'm telling you don't need more time, Anthony Richardson. It's not going to work out. Let me tell you something. When I found out Anthony Richardson's not playing this game, I'm like, oh,
yep, Colts by $1 billion.
I'm like, oh, the receivers gonna get the ball.
Joe Flacco just runs an offense. That's it. He just runs an offense.
He won 8-9 games. Well, how many games they won? 8 or
like
8, 9. They were battling. The last game they had, they were trying to get in the last spot.
I bet you Cleveland still wishes they had Joe Flacco.
Yeah. Well, the problem is with Cleveland is when Joe Flacco had a terrible playoff game.
He did, but I'm pretty sure the Cleveland fans would much rather have him right now than Deshaun. But
they didn't fully guarantee his contract.
So Joe Flacco had to throw to Michael Pittman Jr. in this game, where Pittman just high pointed the rebound and just came down to like a grown fucking man.
Joe Flacco will throw the ball deep, and one thing he knows he's going to get is either the receiver's going to get the ball or he's going to draw a PI.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he's always been good his whole career, was throwing the ball down the field, big arm, getting PIs and hitting the receivers down the field.
So this game was hell for Mike, because not only Mike hates no team in the NFL more than he hates the Indianapolis Colts. He'll sit there and be like, the Colts stink. They stink. We better beat the Colts. We're gonna beat the Colts. News Will Levis is starting. It's kind of like, shit, here we go. And then the will he, won't he, Anthony Richardson, where they're like, oh, it's looking like Anthony Richardson's going to play. Anthony Richardson's going to play. And then literally the last minute, they're like, Anthony Richardson wasn't 100%. We're playing Joe Flacco. And I was a text in the group chat immediately, Colts by $1 billion. Colts by $1 billion. I was like, you guys will win if Richardson's playing, because your defense will make him look fucking terrible. You guys will lose if Flacco plays, because he actually knows how to run an offense.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. Oh, shout out to Joe Flacco. Shout out to the Colts. Titans stink. Mike is ready for to move on to a new quarterback. He's just like, I was wrong. He has so much arm talent, but he's got fucking shit for brains. I was like, he's just buff Zach Wilson. That's all he is. He's just buff Zach Wilson. Texas 41, Colts 21, the debut of one Drake May. And ladies and gentlemen, don't let Drake May's stats fool you. He was looking like he was dying in that first half. He was looking like he was dying in that first half.
I'm like, oh my God.
But he did throw a fucking dime to boot. Or Booty, whatever the fuck his name is.
Brissett couldn't throw the ball down the field. That was the problem. Drake May could.
Yep.
And they should have played him last week against the shittier defense. They're throwing him out here against Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter.
It's malpractice for a young quarterback. I'm still like, Drake May played good today, right? He played better than I expected him to play. But it doesn't mean this was still the right thing to do. Like, this was, if he didn't throw these touchdowns and all he did was get sacked and throw those interceptions, and the whole Patriot fan base organization would be like, fuck. Like, this is malpractice for a young quarterback. Like, granted, like, you got to throw them in eventually. You could have waited till not be facing this team.
The last, real... I think they only play one more good defense the rest of the season, and the rest.
Yeah, us.
Yeah.
Well, no, they play three good. They play three good defenses. They play us, the Titans, and the fucking Bears.
Yeah, but week in the middle of the season, week 8, week 9 is where you bring him in, because I'm like, okay, but you want him to last. Because not only do you throw him in against Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson, you threw him in with your 6th different starting offensive lineman group of the season.
Yep.
In your 6 straight. In 6 games, you had 6 different lineups of offensive linemen. And
I get it.
That.
I get it. You got to try to put a spark, but if you're the Patriots, this is the point I was making to Anthony, because he's like, the Patriots are calling for Drake May. The fan base deserves it. I'm like, why? Your team's not talented. There's no real upside here.
If he's your future, you want to keep your
protect him. Safe. Yeah. I was like, you brought in Jacoby Brissett to be the human meat shield.
Yeah.
You brought him here so Drake May doesn't die and doesn't make the bad decisions, and you model your professionalism the way that Brissett does, because Brissett goes out there, gets killed, and still I'm putting in the work. This is the work ethic that you want. I'm just not able to do this at a higher level, right? You get him that mindset young, and then he come out and be a freak athlete, right? which is kind of how he got a couple of his touchdowns today, him just being a better athlete than Jacoby. But that's not sustainable. The team's not good. If anything, you might be putting your team in a worse situation.
Stink.
You might be putting your team in a worse situation.
Yeah, look good
when it comes to the end of the year.
You can say those last fucking 14 points scored were because you're getting your ass beat in the defense.
Oh yeah, it was garbage time.
Like
garbage time. But he did get sacked. How many times did he get sacked? Like 5 times?
Well, it's not. I think 5 or 6 times, but he got hit a lot. It was.
Oh yeah, he got sacked 4 times, but he was getting his ass whooped.
He was getting hit. That's the thing.
He was getting his ass whooped. That first half, me and Steven were like, you should probably take him out.
I'm like, he might not have a career if he keeps getting hit like this.
What? Will Anderson had 3 sacks on him, not counting all the hits. I think Hunter had a sack as well. But like, they were just whooping his ass. And like, it's a lot for me to kind of feel bad for a Patriot player when I've been hating this team for my entire life. But it's just like, if you want to give this kid a shot, you got to not be an asshole about it. Fuck the Patriots. I hope next time we see Drake May, we fucking spine bust him through the earth's crust too.
Spine buster.
Browns 16, Eagles 20. The Eagles should be fucking ashamed of themselves.
The first half of this game, I didn't know which quarterback was which. The first half of this game. The second half of this game, and Deshaun Watson only threw like 1 incompletion in the second half of this game. So the Browns have a bunch of shit wrong with them. A bunch of things wrong with them because it's not only Deshaun Watson. He's been terrible, yes. Amari Cooper leads the league in drops.
Oh, he took it from Alan Lazard?
Yeah.
Well, Alan Lazard hasn't played yet, so
Amari Cooper leads the league in drops. He had some of this games. Jerry Jeudy is a jag. He can't get open, and their whole offensive line is hurt. Like
the whole offensive line's hurt. They are a Nick Chubb merchant offense,
but they were actually running the ball pretty good. I don't know what they went away from it. They were running.
Homeboy got hurt.
No,
Ford got hurt.
No, but they had Foreman and Strong came in when Ford got hurt. Ford got hurt at the beginning of the game. The other 2 running backs were fucking doing fine. Like Pierre Strong, they were running right up the middle, and then they had this 1 4th down where instead of just running down, they've been running down the middle on fucking Eagles all fucking day, and on the 4th down, they decided to do a jet sweep, and nobody blocks Brandon Graham. I'm like, why? Even in Jonathan Vilma was like, why not run it up the middle? And the Eagles.
This game shouldn't have been close.
This game shouldn't have been close with fucking Devontae Smith and AJ Brown back.
AJ Brown had a fucking 116-yard game.
Saquon got shut down.
Got shut down. The receivers were killing it, and the Browns didn't convert a 3rd down until the fucking 4th quarter.
At one point, there was 88 total plays called on both sides total for the game, and none were in the red zone.
Oh, fuck, they should be a fucking ashamed of themselves. Meanwhile, you got asshole Nick Sirianni talking to the Eagles fans in the crowd.
Yeah, because guess what? You know what happens when you do that? You're going to be there eventually. Because there was also something going on between Jalen Hurts and Sirianni during the week. They were talking about that. Something was going on between them 2 during the week and the fans. So I told you guys, Philly fans know what I'm talking about.
Hurts stinks. Sirianni's an asshole. Like,
or calls dumb plays.
I can't, like, I don't hate the Eagles. I get labeled an Eagle hitter because I don't like Jalen Hurts. But, like, see, I hate Sirianni. I fucking hate him. He is such a douchebag. Yeah. He is such a Philly douchebag. And the problem is, he is the representation of that fan base because he is that fan base. He acts exactly how the fan base acts. And the fan base doesn't like it. He's a brash asshole.
Yeah, he had the nerve to talk shit to his own fans. They were the home team today. Myles Garrett with a great block. on the fucking field goal. He did that last year against Seattle. The same shit. Jump over, blocked it, return it for a tutter.
Chargers, Broncos. Chargers 23, Broncos 16. Some weird, wacky shit was going on at the beginning of this game with Harbaugh going to the blue medical tent.
Has some type of illness, so he came back, but
Harbaugh goes to the blue medical tent, and then Pat Surtain went to the medical tent.
Yeah, Pat Surtain had a concussion. He got a concussion on the play. But the Chargers were moving the ball. Don't let the score fool you. The Chargers dominated this game.
Yeah, they were dominated. The game got a little funky towards the last 2 minutes of the game, where the Broncos thought they were gonna come back, but there just wasn't enough time. Chargers did a really good job of just
the Broncos. This game wasn't even close. The Chargers they were just moving the ball all over this Broncos defense. I'm like, wow, they're just moving. And I know, Surtain got hurt, but they were just moving the ball down the field.
The Chargers team, I don't think this Chargers team's great, right? They're 3-2, but they play this style of football that is just so simple. And they just play simple football. So we're right up the middle.
Greg Roman likes quarterbacks that don't really run. Now he wants to throw the ball when all he wanted to do in Baltimore was run. He's throwing the ball to Justin Herbert. And Justin Herbert throwing a dime to the fucking rookie running back on a fucking wheel route.
They actually run plays out of the under center. They run a complete offense. They run a simple offense. They run an offense that's easy for Herbert to just go through his progressions. They're able to establish the run. They have a great offensive line. They're able to play kind of old school power football and then take shots. So I just don't know how I'm supposed to feel about this Chargers team. I feel like they're playing a fucking 2006 offense.
Have a favorable schedule.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, if all they have to do is beat the Broncos and the Raiders twice,
then you're a good spot.
They're 2-0 against those two teams, and they play the Panthers. They could be a team. It's the seventh seed. They'll sneak right in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
He just wins. He brings the mentality. Blah blah blah. Everybody believes in it, and they
keep it moving. This regime is saving Justin Herbert.
Yeah,
absolutely saving him. And granted, he's not doing anything phenomenal, but he's just looks like a competent quarterback now. Where the last couple of years he has not.
Yeah, they're running the ball. They're running the ball.
20. They're just doing this simple shit. They're doing this simple shit, and it works.
Running the ball. They're keeping their defense off the field. The defense is their Achilles heel, but them being off the field and then having Khalil Mack make plays.
Steelers 32, Raiders 13. Anthony tried to tell me, because of all of Twitter today, all of the Raider fans were saying that this game was rigged. The refs were the reason they lost this game, and refused to actually acknowledge what happened in this game. And I pointed out one particular comment under a Raider fan who posted a picture of a referee in Steelers themed stripes, and the comment says, "This is why we'll never leave." Oh, here we go. Here's Anthony. Here he is. He showed up. This is why we'll never leave mediocrity, because we are always blaming the refs instead of the dog shit that's on the field.
You gotta do that fucking that shitty ass performance they put on the field today. It was gonna be rigged. You're fucking playing Officer Favre at quarterback today. We all saw how crappy he was last year. Your fucking running backs can't hold on the fucking ball. You have no skill players. Devontae Adams is probably not going to play another down for this fucking team. So Jacoby Myers missed the game, didn't he? Because he's hurt. Zamir White's hurt. You have no fucking Michael Mayer's hurt. All you have is Brock Bowers on the
Brock Bowers wasn't even on the field in a couple of the red zone trips. And I was like, why isn't he on the fucking field?
And you have Max Crosby on defense. That's it. Max Crosby and TJ Watt trading peanut punches. I'm the better white guy. No, I'm the better white guy.
Justin Fields also stinks. Justin Fields is bad at football. Like, he's not good.
I wouldn't say that.
He's not good. Like, this Raiders defense isn't good, but he's also, like, not very good. They got bailed out on that roughing the passer call, but that is roughing the passer because he made a horrible fucking throw. Horrible fucking throw. It just so happened whoever hit Fields on that play put all of his body weight on him and drove him through the earth's core.
Smith is their fucking play caller, who's technically an upgrade from fucking Canada. They had
technically an upgrade, and I gave Arthur Smith a ton of credit in the first couple of weeks about what he was doing. Now I'm sitting here, I'm like, this kind of fucked up.
Plus, George Pickens quits on every fucking route. So
George Pickens in the first half had a couple plays to him where I was just like, what the fuck? Did he just give up?
If you watch George Pickens like last week or the week before, is like he doesn't even try on the field.
He usually waits till like the third quarter to quit. He quit early today. He quit early today. And the only reason this game even looks like this, like, is because Najee Harris finally decided to like play running back at a high level. He had a fucking crazy long run where he was just stiff arming dudes. Like, he was dropping dudes in the middle of the field earlier in the drive too. So shout out to Najee Harris for trying to shut everybody up about Jaylen Warren. Shout out to him. But like this,
when Justin Fields, they couldn't stop Justin Fields running the ball neither. It was like, what Steelers defense
is good.
It's good.
It's a good defense.
So what happened last week when they were moving, they were getting the ball moved on them, but
they're a good defense. But like even before like the Aiden O'Connell interception, all that stuff, the Raiders weren't successfully moving the ball. They just weren't able to successfully move the ball, and that's going to suck.
This game, you're just not that fucking good. Get over it. You're trying to get a quarterback in the draft coming up.
This Raiders team has no idea what they actually are because they have some elite talent. And I feel like there's like, oh, because we have that elite talent, we're supposed to be better than we are.
They have like two great.
They have 3 elite players.
Yeah.
They have Crosby. They have homeboy from the Dolphins and Christian Wilkins, and they have Devontae Adams.
Yeah. Yeah, Adams.
But Wilkins is hurt.
Down for them. So
Wilkins is hurt and is probably out for the rest of the year.
And Jacoby Myers is hurt. So, like,
Max Crosby's pushing coaches on the sidelines. Devontae Adams, they came out with their report. They're like, oh, Devontae Adams might not get traded and he might come back to the Raiders. All that means is the Raiders are trying to drive up the market because they're not getting what they want because they're not going to get a second rounder for Devontae.
Even a second round for him. So, guess what?
The worst thing that happened to the Raiders was Bill Belichick coming out and be like, why am I giving a second rounder for a 30-year-old wide receiver? That was the worst thing that could happen. But now it's just, I think that was just, hey, Jets, drive up the fucking price tag. Drive up the price tag. We're not just going to give him for you. I'm just like, okay, you should have given him a third already anyway. Like, what are we doing? That trade should have happened already.
The Raiders team is just not good enough.
They're just not good enough. Let's see.
They have a quarterback issue. It's like
their quarterback issue is they don't have a quarterback.
Minshew and
it's not like it's the Saints issue where it's like, oh man, they have 2 quarterbacks, but one is better than the other. This one is they have Gardner Minshew, they have Aiden O'Connell, and neither one are good.
Gardner Minshew and Officer Farva, and you can't fucking do nothing.
Neither one are good. When Anthony was like, they need to put Aiden O'Connell in, he's a game changer. He's this. I'm like, your guys aren't going to be better with him. You're not going to be worse with him. I was like, if you want to lose, you probably just keep playing Minshew and watch him just throw 100-yard picks every fucking couple days. But like, Aiden O'Connell is a fucking garbage time touchdown merchant right now. He only like engineers touchdown drives outside of the opening play in garbage time when they're no longer playing you. So it's like, He's like, no, it wasn't garbage time. They were playing. I was like, yeah, they're playing in the sense where you have to have 11 guys on the field. Like in the literal sense that they were playing, yes, they were playing, but they weren't blitzing you. They weren't doing X, Y, and Z. They weren't doing anything because before that interception, Aiden O'Connell really was just there. He just wasn't doing anything. He wasn't hurting the team. He wasn't hurting the team. He wasn't helping the team directly. He just was there. He was calling the plays and he was just doing stuff. Falcons 38, Panthers 20. This is another game I didn't pay too much attention to because one, it's the fucking Panthers, and two, I was really like dialed into that Raider game.
This game. Oh.
I did see the Panthers jerseys, and I saw Xavier Legette catch a fucking touchdown as well.
Well, it started off. The Panthers were the first half. The Panthers were feisty. They were like fucking neck and neck with them. It was a decent game until the second half. And Tyler Algier just ran all over them. They could not stop Tyler Algier. The Falcons finally using both their running backs today, Bijan and Algier. How many times they ran the ball?
Once they figured out, like, you could use Bijan in the red zone, like, it's still baffling to me how Arthur Smith last year just didn't use Bijan in the red zone. And then even, like, now, they still kind of don't use Bijan in the red zone. They did today.
Arthur Smith didn't use any of their fucking weapons, like Drake London, Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts today, 70 yards. We love that.
Kirk didn't have to do much today because they were running the ball all over the fucking field. Last week, it was for 500 fucking yards.
But we love seeing the young guys who you draft, like, do shit.
We've seen it. The guys just needed a person who knew how to play quarterback.
Somebody who knew how to play call plays.
Kirk Cousins is the fucking average, is the mid.
He is, in baseball, Steven, we call it the Mendoza line.
Yeah, he's the Cousins.
He is the Mendoza line. He is the line for how you determine how good or bad a player is.
That's that's the difference between this Atlanta team last year and the last couple of years and this year. They have a person that can play quarterback.
I mean, they had Marcus Mariota, and then they like shipped him out.
Yeah,
they kept winning games.
He
wasn't good. He wasn't great, but he was winning games.
He didn't win enough. That's why he got fucking benched.
Well, no, they benched him because he was winning too much. They won like 6 games, and they were like, "What are you doing? Why are you doing this? You're not helping us."
They weren't going to get any of those fucking quarterbacks.
Listen, if Marcus Mariota didn't win fucking 6 games when he won them, he probably could have. We got to talk about it.
Happy birthday, Jerry Jones. This is what you get.
Detroit Lions 47, Dallas Cowboys 9.
Not only was this a great performance by Ben Johnson, but it looked like an audition on who should be the next coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Because the way they fucking scheme everybody open on Detroit compared to Mike McCarthy, who we've seen this, the Dallas Cowboys are like dead last in wide receiver separation. Because Mike McCarthy's offense doesn't schematically get people open. We saw this his last 3 years in fucking Green Bay. Remember when Aaron Rodgers, Mike McCarthy's last 3 seasons in Green Bay, the receivers couldn't get open and he led the league in throwaways because they were always relying on the play to break down. Well, if the play can't break down, open.
Did you see that people were calling Aaron Rodgers a coach killer because Mike McCarthy got fired? And I'm immediately like, why are we acting like Mike McCarthy didn't need to get fired?
Mike McCarthy, first of all,
because in real time, you and I were talking about how he needed to be fired.
Yeah. I was Mike McCarthy, when he was in Green Bay, we're like, why is this guy's terrible.
He's living off of that Super Bowl.
You're a coach killer. Aaron Rodgers only got 1 coach fired. You're a coach killer if you have fucking multiple coaches fired.
Aaron Rodgers in 20 years has had 3 coaches. One of them got fired while he was really in the tenure. The other one's still the coach. And Robert Saleh was going to get fired without him.
McCarthy was there McCarthy was the coach when Favre was there.
Yes,
So
and
he did
and
have. He only got McCarthy fired. He's not a coach killer.
I don't even say he got McCarthy fired. McCarthy got McCarthy fired.
McCarthy got McCarthy fired because he calls the same fucking plays over and over again and refuses to run the ball.
His second coach is LaFleur. LaFleur is still the head coach. His third coach is Saleh. Saleh was going to get fired without him.
So technically, Aaron Rodgers got 2 coaches fired, but Saleh was already out the door.
Saleh's seat was already hot.
Johnson didn't hire him. He didn't fucking care.
No. So it's like, okay, like, what are we doing? Why? Like, and again, I'm not a Rodgers guy. I hate defending Rodgers on things that I shouldn't be defending Rodgers on. But why? He's had the same amount of head coaches in his career that Tom Brady did.
How's he a coach killer?
How is he a fucking coach killer?
The thing about it is that, look, that nobody is open on the offense. CeeDee Lamb doesn't even get open. If CeeDee Lamb gets open, and then once you get in CeeDee Lamb's head, you can just take his ass out the game.
Yep.
And they don't run the ball. They don't run the ball. Last week, what happened? The Pittsburgh Steelers against the Cowboys last week were playing with the safeties back the whole game. And what did they do? They ran the ball, and they ran it effectively. And then they had to bring the safeties up. And guess what happened? They won the game. Plus, the Lions wanted to – remember last year how bad San Francisco wanted to play Philly last year? That's how bad the Lions wanted to play Dallas last year because they thought they should have won that fucking game last year.
I mean, to be fair, they did have that little fucking mix-up with eligible receivers and all that stuff. They felt like they won that game.
It was the right call because they tricked themselves, and if you went back to it, and it was like, oh, when he did it, it's like, okay, you're reporting eligible, and then he says, blah, 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 reported eligible, and then the uneligible guy caught the touchdown. Anyway, but they were going to make a point. Not only make a point, look all the plays Detroit was calling. They wanted to beat the shit out of him. And that's what they did. They ran in and they beat the shit out of him. And Ben Johnson calling out all the stops like he was trying to audition for because Dallas is in a bye week. Perfect time to fire your coach, Jerry. You haven't won at home at all since this year. Since this year, you went from winning 16 straight at home to getting demolished by fucking 200 points total in all your home games this year, Jerry. And your birthday got ruined today, Jerry. Are you going to let this clown still coach your team? You should have fired him a long time ago. You didn't participate in free agency. Jerry. You going to fire him? Fire him.
There's nothing like an owner getting embarrassed. And there's nothing like... It's nothing like the team a Bretta boy roots for where the owner gets embarrassed and make a rash decision. And we live for those rash decisions as Bretta boys.
It should have happened 2-3 years ago.
So let's say you wake up, bam, Mike McCarthy has been fired by the Dallas Cowboys. Is Zim your interim?
Zimmer would be the interim. Because guess what? Zimmer's going to go to Schottenheimer would be offense coordinator. Yep. And if Zim would go to Schottenheimer and say, you better run the fucking ball or I'm going to fucking stab you in the face.
When I was explaining what was wrong with the Cowboys in the group chat, they're like, this Cowboys team stinks. What happened? I was like, I mean, they really only have CeeDee Lamb and a stable of like geriatric running backs. They don't have a lot of money because they pushed all their contracts back to the point where it's like, okay, we can't push them back anymore. You guys are going to have like $160 million in free agency, and they were all going to go to 3 different players, and you wouldn't be able to participate in free agency at all next year either. So like, there's some money that needs to get moved. Your play calling stinks. The defense is hurt. Your best defensive player, even when he's not hurt, is a fucking like non-existent. So it's like there's a lot of problems that happen with this team, but like you guys need the
whole offense. We got one of the youngest offensive linemen in offensive lines in the NFL, like second or first with one of them because Zach Martin bumps it up. But Zach Martin he looks old. You
can only be a Hall of Fame left guard for fucking how long before you start looking old?
He looks old. Terrence Steele is terrible. Uh, Tyler Smith is the only bright spot, and then you got the rookie left tackle, rookie center. Uh, you got washed up Zeke, Rico Dowdle, but give him the ball. Let's see what he can do. He did fine last week, but they don't run the ball. The defense, your defense is terrible. There's a way to fix the defense that's terrible. Keep them off the fucking field.
Hey, there's a linebacker. There's a middle linebacker that's available that wouldn't hurt.
They had Tony Pollard on the team last year. Tony Pollard didn't do shit, but he also didn't get the ball neither last year. Because the reason I never wanted Mike McCarthy because I knew they were going to stop running the ball. In Mike McCarthy's schemes, receivers don't get open schematically. They have to beat their guy, or the play has to break down. And guess what? They couldn't protect shit today.
Nope. Prayers up to Aiden Hutchinson, who had a fucking nasty leg injury. Broke his leg all up in place.
Oh my god, he'd been front runner for defense player of the year right then and there.
Because holy shit, he was balling. He was having such a good year. And then dumb shit happens, so we hate to see it. Never want to see any player get injured unless they're Thomas Edward Brady. But we don't get that anymore. But yeah, he had 1 sack. He was leading the NFL in sacks. Now that's up for the taking, I believe. And I'm not going to say there's a certain Jet player that's on that list, but there is. Mr. Will Anderson, second in the NFL in sacks. So not Will Anderson, Will McDonald IV. As we prepare for a new era in New York Jet football, the Jeff Ulbrich era, who I'm a massive fan of.
This is Jets are in trouble. We're gonna find out. If they don't win this game, they're in trouble.
Yes,
it is bad. They don't win this game because let me tell you what. Last year you were 2-3. This year you're 2-3 at this point. Last year you had 93 points scored, I believe. This year you have 93 points scored. The coach Saleh had to go.
He did.
Wasn't doing it. He's being a player's coach. He wasn't holding people accountable, getting rid of fucking Hackett or demoting Hackett. Listen, we have Aaron Rodgers who's significantly better than fucking Zach Wilson. Why are we putting up the same number of points as Zach Wilson, a Zach Wilson-led team last year? That's on fucking coaches. There's no reason for that. Not to mention that Aaron Rodgers hasn't thrown for 300 yards in like 28 straight games. Over.
There's too many things, man. There's too many things. Like when I found out Saleh got fired, I was shocked. I'm surprised they actually did it because the Jets haven't had an in-season coach change since 1976 when Lou Holtz stepped down. So it's like, didn't think Woody had the balls to do it. But then I was like, oh, let me put 2 and 2 together really quick. Woody was the ambassador to the United Kingdom under the Trump administration, was in England for fucking 4 years. He was sitting there watching this game with all his constituents and friends, and he got fucking embarrassed. And he was like, yeah, Robert, you're fucking out of here.
The Denver loss is worse.
The Denver loss is what made Saleh's seat fucking red hot because of the 13 penalties.
Because the motherfucker, going into towards the end of the third quarter of that game, fucking Bo Nix was looking like he was trying to win the fucking Masters. He had -7 yards. And
even at the end of the game, he threw for 60 yards and won.
He threw for 60 yards in the game. He had -7 up to like the fucking 8-minute mark of the third quarter.
And won.
And won the game. Now, on the flip side, this is an important game for the Bills, too. Because the loser of this game,
they're on a skid, too.
Bad shit, because we said it this year. I'm like, when they first played Arizona, I'm like, and Arizona's moving the ball, and I'm like, this defense can't stop nobody.
And Ed Oliver's not playing. They have a couple injuries on defense, too.
And the worst part about this is that Josh Allen has no turnovers. They can't win. They can't. Their defense, you can run the ball in this team. The Jets, they usually fucking play Josh Allen really good. They're like the only team that Josh Allen really struggles against. He plays his worst game against the Jets. The Jets have to run the ball in this game, and then
thank God Hackett's not play calling, Steven. If I had to go through one more fucking game of run, pass, and only thing being run out of under center was just run plays and the predictability of it, I was going to lose my mind. Granted, Todd Downing is not good, right? He is not a good play caller, but he is such an upgrade over Nathaniel Hackett. In his last 3 years as offensive coordinator, at least in the red zone, he's good. He's always good with the run game, no matter what team he's calling for. And in the red zone, he's successful. Hopefully they integrate some motions. Hopefully they just you use the pass to set up the run. Do football backwards. Do football the way the Chiefs are doing it, because the way we've been doing it is not working.
The Bills, they lose this game, then McDermott's going to be on the hot seat, especially what happened in Houston last week, where they get the ball with 30 seconds left, and they just on their 1 yard line, and they don't even try to run the clock out to go to overtime or make Houston.
That was the worst time management I think I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. So McDermott loses this game because the Jets coaches ain't going to be in the hot seat. They already fired their coach, but it's just going to be bad team-wise for them.
Ulbricht's just coaching for his job.
Yeah.
Because Ulbricht, no matter what, the only reason Saleh got fired is because we have a head coach candidate on our staff. That's the only reason he got fired in my eyes. Because Woody Johnson hates Nathaniel Hackett. He made that very fucking clear in his press conference after he fired Saleh that he hates Nathaniel Hackett. So Ulbricht was going to get a head coaching job. The only reason he didn't get hired as a head coach this year is because he refused to take any interviews. Because Ulbricht is a fucking stud defensive coordinator.
Same thing that Ben Johnson did last year. He didn't even want the past 2 years.
Yep.
Ben Johnson turned down 2 years ago. He's like, I think we got something here. And then last year, he's like, no, I want to see if we can finish this thing through. But
that's exactly what Ulbricht did.
I don't think Ben Johnson's going to fucking wait after this year. He's going to take
no. And Ulbricht wasn't going to wait after this year either. This is year 4 as defensive coordinator, or year 5 year 4 as defensive coordinator. 3 out of the 4 years, he's had a top 10 defense. Probably time to go get a job.
The Bills lose this game, fucking McDermott's that seat's gonna start burning.
And if the Jets win this game, they're in first place. Yeah. So it's one of those weird situations where it's we're literally.
This is an important game for both teams. This is a must-win for both teams.
Luckily for the Jets, we have the interim head coach hot streak that happens where it's usually the week after a coach gets fired to get an interim, there's a big boost. Yeah, and that team usually wins.
The team gets a spark.
That'll be the best thing for us to do so. So, and then if we can win this game, then we have the Steelers next week, and then we have the Patriots. There's an avenue where it's things can look up. We just have to get through a bad defense. Just score fucking points. That's it. Just score points. That's all I need. That's all I want with my life is Jets to score points.
Also, 2 Monday night games next week.
Good, because please don't, NFL, stop. Don't ever put another game on when the Jets are on Monday Night Football. Don't fucking do it. You'll ruin your own ratings because the Jets people watch the Jets.
Well, I believe
dumpster fire.
It's a sorry game. I think it's Commanders. One of them's on ESPN.
Let's see. Fucking Ravens, Bucks, and Chargers, Cardinals.
Yeah, Chargers, Cardinals. Ravens, Bucks will be
good. Yeah. Chargers, Cardinals, I don't really want to watch.
Cardinals, that's on the ESPN Plus.
Oh my God. The Jets have fucking in a 4-week stretch. Is that Houston game on Thursday? It is on fucking Thursday. I have fucking the Steelers on Sunday Night Football, the Patriots fucking this week after, and then I have the fucking Texans that Thursday. I'm so over these fucking games in like 9 days. I'm so over it. Jets have had like 3 different scenarios like that. All right, we're done. Appreciate everybody for coming by. Thank you, Anthony, for stopping by, listening to us talk shit about your Raiders. We're the Bretto Boys. We'll be back next week.
After London?
No bye after London. We decided to not have a bye after London, which is the dumbest thing of all time. Why are we doing this? Teams get offended by that shit. It's like, oh, you chose us instead of the bye week? Oh, you guys are fucking dickheads. We're going to beat the shit out of you. Blah, 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 blah. I hate that shit. That was bad. They shouldn't have did that. We're done. We're not talking about this. It's 12:30. I'm off tomorrow. Thanks, Indigenous Peoples Day. Christopher Columbus, you piece of shit. We'll be back next week for week 7 of the NFL slate. I'm Dylan Bretto, Podcast Poppy. I'm with Steven Bretto. Sam Viper, good night. That guy has not eaten his shit yet.